Growth can mean any number of things. It's not just growth in numbers. It can be growth in how you present things. It also means growth in our family. Business growth, Farm Bureau growth, it all comes together because we're all in ag together.
Questions are kind of our key to learning. And if we're asking good questions, then we're giving ourselves the basis to grow and improve our industry and our businesses and improve our ecosystems and just all around improve agriculture.
We know when we face problems that seem insurmountable, we can start to tackle them by asking good questions. When we see things in the world that we want to change in our communities or in our industries, we have to take responsibility to be the agents for that change. Clarkson Spain was a Gallatin Valley grain farmer, and he was the first Montana State Farm Bureau president who had a way to talk directly with the state's Farm Bureau members. So before Clarkson Spain's era, many of the county farm bureaus had local newsletters where they could share information with their members. But when Clarkson Spain became president in the 1940s, he was the first president that had access to a statewide newsletter directly to Montana Farm Bureau members. And he had a monthly column called Clarkson's Comments. And he used this column to ask thoughtful questions to the Farm Bureau members. I often wondered if Clarkson was a journalist in a past life because he just asked really good questions. He was always pushing the farmers and ranchers of the Farm Bureau to ponder, what do you think? Have you studied this issue? How should we take action? Rarely when you were reading the columns that Clarkson wrote, did you know what he thought or what he thought the members should do, but he always was there to pose the right question. And Farm Bureau members across the state were doing the same thing. They were coming out of World War II with new eyes, trying to figure out how they were going to reinvent their rural communities, how they were going to sustain those rural communities, how they were going to build a different farm economy that would be more stable than the one that they found as they came out of World War I. And they started asking a lot of questions like, how are we going to electrify our rural areas? Who will answer fire calls in our rural districts? Can we extend library services to our rural communities? Do our high schools teach agricultural education to our students? Can we pool resources to control the pests in our livestock? And they were asking all these questions of each other, and the answers were yes, yes, and yes. They just had to find a way. But it all started with asking good questions.
Well, I think it's amazing that some of the questions we were asking in the post-World War II era are some of the same questions we're asking today. In post-World War II era, you brought up people are asking about how we're going to get electricity to our rural communities. Well, today we're talking about how do we get broadband access to our rural communities, and that ties right into libraries and things like that. Because today, we're in the information age. Everything we do and get is from the internet, or can be done from the internet. So right now we're struggling to get that access out to these rural communities. The guys like us who are 5-10 miles up a dirt road. So those are the questions we're asking. And then, I think the question about the economy and how do we stay, vital and vibrant in a global economy is as important now as it ever has been. How do we, as ag producers, I'm a cattle producer, so I'm concerned every day with how do we, stay competitive in the global market? How do we compete with large food producers? How does a little guy like me, who's raising, several hundred calves every year, fit in the much bigger picture and make a business that's sustainable for myself and my family? I think it's just important to just always be, cognizant of our environment and looking for ways, asking the right questions so we can be more sustainable, more environmentally conscious. We're always learning, and we have to continue to always learn because the world around us is always changing. So we have to be able to learn and adapt to those changes. And, my son's gonna grow up in a world where there's 10 billion people, and it's the farmers and ranchers, not only in Beaver Head County, in Montana, in the United States, around the world, who are gonna, find the solutions to be able to feed and clothe and fuel all those people.
The Riverside Farm Bureau in Beaverhead County, they purchased the first rural fire truck in their area. The Park County Farm Bureau established a rural library, and they were instrumental in getting agriculture education programming into their school. In Gallatin County, the farmers there organized great Bangs vaccination tours where they would schedule a veterinarian to go ranch to ranch to administer vaccinations. And farm bureaus across the state started pooling resources to buy mobile spray units to travel again ranch to ranch across their counties to help ranchers eradicate lice and grubs, so that no one individual farmer had to make a big investment in new equipment. They could work together to solve these problems if they just asked the right questions. The Farm Bureau was largely seen as the organization that was getting things done in their rural communities, and Clarkson Spain was pushing for that progress on the state level as well. He wrote to members in 1948, again in his monthly presidential column, to report the results of a survey in which State Farm Bureau leaders had asked their members, do you have insurance of any sort? Are you interested in using insurance? Would you participate in an insurance company that was owned by an organization that you trusted? Would you trust insurance sold by a fellow farmer? Now, these were really good questions posed with good reason. At the time, many farmers would say that most of them didn't even have access to an insurance company. And if they did, it was sold by policyholders who lived in town and didn't understand the intricacies and the needs of a farm business. And so of the members who responded to the survey questions that Clarkson asked, the vast majority indicated that they were in fact in favor of an auto and truck insurance program for their members, and most were not carrying any sort of insurance at the time. The problem was that they also then recognized that if they were going to build a stable business that would serve these needs that their members said they needed more Farm Bureau members to make sure that the business would be secure. So this opened up a whole new era of Farm Bureau leaders recognizing that having membership numbers, that having the majority of people out in farm country within their ranks could do more than just live out their foundational values of having a unified voice, of growing an education together, and of seeing vitality in their rural communities, but they could actually build businesses that would make a difference in their communities. So this opened up a new era in this search for membership growth or growth of the organization in an effort to serve their constituents.
I believe we are asking the right questions. Since I've been involved in Montana Farm Bureau, I've seen the staff at Montana Farm Bureau grow because the membership has grown. And so I think we're making those ask questions of asking people to join. We could probably do better because I know sometimes we do a blanket ask instead of that personal ask. And so are we asking our neighbors, are you members of Farm Bureau? Would you like to join? But I think generally the questions are being asked of what can we do to make our producers and help our producers be successful in the ag industry. Farm Bureau is really good at looking at what's the needs of our membership. How can we put on a seminar or put out an informational, or what legislation do we need to work on that impacts the outcome of success for the farm and ranchers who are members of Montana Farm Bureau.
In this era of great growth and expansion for the Farm Bureau, there was a young Gallatin Valley farmer, and his name was Fred Tubb. He stepped into leadership in his local 4 Communities Farm Bureau unit. And like the Farm Bureau, Fred and his wife Gladys were slowly, steadily working to grow their small holdings on a small farm through a series of questions and thoroughly thought out answers. So when I interviewed Fred and Gladys's daughter, Betty Biggs, who's still in the Gallatin Valley area, Betty showed me ways that Clarkson Spain's inquisitive spirit was strongly alive in Fred Tubbs' legacy as well. But what she remembers about Fred, about her father, is that he was she called him an old school scientific thinker. She said she remembers as a little girl watching him sit and just ponder and think and study a question. And she said that he was also a great learner. The Tubbs' farm and the Farm Bureau were both making this slow, steady progress towards their goals of growth using that same methodology, the ask, learn, grow, ask, learn, grow, ask good questions, learn the tools and the information you need, and then grow from there. And the Farm Bureau was doing the same thing in the late 40s and the early 50s. Finally, in 1954, the State Farm Bureau was within 30 members of the goal that they needed to achieve in order to justify creating their insurance company. Now, this is several years after asking those first questions. This wasn't a quick process. They finally had the confidence and the structure that they needed to say, we think we're ready to start creating a business to serve our members. And in the 1956 Montana State Farm Bureau Convention, the leaders of the Farm Bureau started to re-ask the questions that Clarkson Spain had surveyed the decade before. And when they surveyed those members, they found that a majority, 56% of the Farm Bureau members at the time, were interested in investing in an insurance program, while almost 80% of the members were interested in insuring specifically with a Farm Bureau company. They said that Farm Bureau families were particularly interested in investing in an insurance company that was ran by and operated in their rural communities alongside their peers, people that they knew and trusted.
The clientele here are friends and neighbors of us primarily. And if you're not a friend already and you're a client, you will be a friend. We try to be as friendly as we can to people and to know you as a person, not as just a number. We're a small area, so people know people. And so you can't hide behind a mask of saying you think that you know this stuff. They actually know you, they know your family, they know your friends. They know a rural area, everybody knows everybody. And so it makes a big difference in if you can't fake it. You have to know what's going on. You have to know what type of season it is, if it's harvest season, if it's calving season, if it's shipping time, if it's what their need is and what what their needs are.
By 1957, Fred Tubb was in the inaugural class of the Montana Farm Bureau's Leadership Training School. And this was another piece of the puzzle. This was another way for Farm Bureau to offer a service to its member to say, again, we have to lift each other up with education and self-improvement to help make our rural communities better. And so again, Fred was one of the inaugural graduates from that leadership training school, and confidence across the organization was soaring. They finally hit the membership goal that they needed, and delegates at that convention therefore approved a joint venture with the already established Wyoming Farm Bureau Insurance Company. Now the two states, Wyoming and Montana, would join forces to offer their Farm Bureau members auto, truck, farm, and ranch liability insurance. Now, the next summer, Farm Bureau leaders from Montana and Wyoming got together, and they traveled in the way that Farm Bureau members were meant to from the beginning, farm to farm, door to door, person to person, to discuss with their members how the insurance service program could work and to try to rally support for the charter campaign. Counties appointed local insurance agents from within their membership ranks, and Fred Tubb, well, he was one of the first. By March of 1959, Fred Tubb had secured 112 charter members for the Gallatin County Farm Bureau to sign up for the new insurance program. And when the charter campaign concluded, Farm Bureau members across the state subscribed about $225,000 to finance their part in this new insurance venture with the Wyoming Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company.
Farmers and ranchers are forever optimists, or if not, we wouldn't be here. We all know the importance of and how blessed we are to have the most abundant, most wholesome, sustainable food supply we've ever had in our history. And we know how important that is to keep moving forward with that and keep that going for our county, for our state, for our community, for our world. And so we have hope that if we keep working, we keep learning, we keep asking the right questions, that we're going to continue to develop that and improve it. And so there's always hope.
When Farm Bureau Insurance started, all of the agents were farmers, and it was farmer to farmer. And that fellow farmer could really analyze your farm and your business and appraise it right and understand exactly what you needed. The most important thing that they could do was ask the right questions.